got a Husqvarna walk behind. It's a self-propelled mower with a Honda engine. When he takes the choke off, it dies. It'll run with the choke on, but when he takes it off, it dies. You know, a little bit concerned about money. That's usually the case around here. So we'd like to see if we can get this fixed reasonably. The first thing I'm going to do is take the carburetor apart so we can inject some, well, in this case I'm going to inject carb cleaner in it, I think. See if we can get it started. It's the same as starting fluid, but it's not, carb cleaner is under a lot more pressure, so you got to be kind of careful. So we'll look at the air filter, get it down into the throat, just give it a little shot, and now I'm going to try to give it a start. It didn't start, so let's see if there's any spark. So it doesn't appear to be any spark either. So I'm going to take the air filter assembly off so we can get into it and at least see, maybe we can drain that gas. Okay, so I want to take a look at this linkage before we take it off so we don't mess anything up. So it looks like there's just one linkage and a spring goes right behind it. So there's only one hole for the linkage and one hole for the spring right there. Now I'm doing this for my benefit more than yours, to be honest. But you should always take a picture of your linkage so you can remember how to put it back on. And now we're gonna take the fuel line off. So now we can take the fuel line off. I'm getting my jar ready so we can take the fuel line off and start draining the fuel. And, turn on the fuel. Well, the gas is quite discolored. It should be more clear, and this one's quite yellowish looking, but I don't see much separation in it. So it probably was still usable, but it's good to get it out of there. They may have added a little gas today. That might have stirred it up a bit. Okay, so I'm going to take the top off. We can start getting part numbers off of it, model numbers I should say. There's model numbers all over a lawnmower, and you got to be careful which ones you get. Since I'm looking for engine parts, I'm going to want the model number from the engine. Now, there is a model number right here on this sticker, but that is for the lawnmower, Husqvarna. The engine is from Honda, so we have to find the Honda engine number. So we'll take that off, and I see it already. So it's right there, and it's going to be hard to see in the camera, but I think it's GJAEA dash, and then there's a series of numbers. That's probably the serial number. So what you'll do is you'll type that into Google, and then typically Amazon will, you'll type that part number in, and then you'll say carburetor, and Amazon will come up with carburetors, but 9 times out of 10 that part number is not in the Amazon description. But if you scroll down Google a little bit, you'll find a page that probably says Honda engine, and it'll give that number, and you click it, and then it says parts list, and it'll have diagrams of different things, and then all you gotta do is find the carburetor, select it, and then you can find the part number of the carburetor at this point. You take that part number of the carburetor and you put it into either Google or Amazon. Most likely Google would be the best choice, and then the Amazon page will pop up and you'll find aftermarket products. Okay, so now I got the top off. I'm going to try to spin this thing a little faster with the drill, see if I can get a spark. I'm also going to disconnect the shut-off wire from the solenoid. Make sure it's not the wire itself causing the issue, why we're not getting sparks. So no, we're not getting sparks. So now I'm going to take the wire off. Aha! So that tells us something. The shut-off wire, so the thing here that shuts it off is not working. So this switch would need to be turned in. So this wire goes into this switch. So this thing, this mechanism right here, should come in when we depress that handle up there, but it's not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug the wire back in to the solenoid. And we're going to hold that while I turn the engine. So I'll have you watch the spark plug while I hold the switch and turn the engine. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but there is spark there. So that just means this engagement bar is not working correctly. Remember, my customers want me to try to save costs. So I found a cable. It doesn't exactly fit. I mean, it's not the right size. It's a little stretched. I'm sure they'll be happy with it considering it's free. I had it off an old lawnmower. So it's a little short, but it does work. So now with that handle in the upright position, I got it clamped. So it's in the upright position. This switch is now depressed. So we can go ahead and try to spin the engine and we should get spark. Yep, there's spark. So now what I'm going to think about doing, I'm going to try to take this carburetor apart and see if we can get it to work before I buy any parts. If we can get it to work, man, we're going to save them a bunch of money. See if I can hold the camera and do this. So now the switch is all the way pushed in. And then, of course, this linkage here is moving correctly. And then we still got the question of the air filter. It's in terrible shape, so I still have to get one of these. I don't have another one. I just used my last one yesterday. So I'm going to start taking this off and taking it apart. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is knock off some of the surface dirt so that when I open up the carburetor I don't get a bunch of dirt inside of it, which is what I'm trying to clean anyways. And I always think it just looks nicer. So I'm using gasoline You can use carburetor cleaner if you want, but it's just a lot more expensive. I know a lot of people worry about the health of the gasoline, but I've used it my entire life. I don't think I've ever seen any bad outcomes from it. Okay, so now I'm going to start taking the carburetor, disassembling the carburetor. Okay, I'm hoping you can see how atrocious this carburetor is. It is just caked. So that's just stale gasoline. There's calcium built up there or something. That's incredible. I got to get that pin out, but that's not cooperating. Got to get this. It's a emulsion tube is what it's called, an emulsion tube. There's so much crud in it that it doesn't want to just fall out. I'll take the float off. Okay, after several minutes of pulling and tugging on that screw, I finally got it to come out. It popped out finally. And then inside there is your emulsion tube. So that goes right in there. So all this needs to be cleaned, and so you might be able to see little holes there. Now those are probably going to be clogged up. I can't see through that hole. You're supposed to be able to see through it. I know in the camera it's going to be impossible to see, but I've tried to clean up the bowl as much as possible. I would imagine you can see the huge difference. If not, rewind the video and go back and look. I cleaned in all the little ports in here. I tried to spray carb cleaner into. Hopefully that'll break it up a bit. And so poke all 4 holes. So now I'm going to reassemble it. Okay, so I got the carburetor back on. Of course, I don't have the air filter on yet. Everything's buttoned up. I've got a little bit of gas in it. So let's give it a try. So it would appear that I brought that one back from the grave because there was a lot wrong with it. So if you click this up next box, it'll take you to video where it's probably working on another more just like this one. So hope I can inspire you to keep at it so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.